Governor Susana Martinez has focused on the state's driver's license law every legislative session since she took office. The governor wants the state to stop issuing licenses to undocumented immigrants. And Ms. Martinez also said in her recent State of the State address this month that, quote, New Mexicans have repeatedly demanded a change to this law, end quote. But immigration rights advocates argue New Mexico is a welcoming state and people don't actually oppose the current driver's license policy. Our producer Sarah Gustavus sat down this week with a local researcher to talk about a new poll in New Mexico.
Gabe Sanchez, you're part of the research team for the national organization Latino Decisions, which follows politics across the country, and you also have a new title. What are you doing these days?
Yeah, taking on a new project for UNM, Institute for Policy, Evaluation, and Applied Research, IPER for short, that I'm co-directing with a couple of other fine gentlemen. Coordinates a lot of applied policy out of UNM, CPER, Bieber, and a couple of other shops. Pretty cool thing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Latino Decisions recently released the State of New Mexico poll. It asked questions about driver's licenses, real ID, public opinion about Governor Martinez, and also comments about that Trump made about immigrants in the U.S. Let's start with those comments from Trump. Why'd you ask about that?
It's kind of catching a lot of national attention, obviously being a state with a majority Hispanic population, his comments about Mexican immigrants, and also his policy stance. We thought nobody's polled on that here in New Mexico, although we've had national data, so I wanted to get some numbers. Here, overwhelmingly, New Mexicans, regardless of race or ethnicity, reject not only his opinions about Mexican immigrants, but his policy stances. Big walls, deportations, and so forth. And I think that sets the backdrop for a lot of the other numbers, that New Mexicans are not as anti-immigrant and as punitive towards immigrants as we're often made out to be.
Now, driver's licenses is a recurring discussion, debate in the legislature. It's back again this year. Governor Martinez wants to reverse the current policy, which allows anyone to get a license regardless of immigration status. What questions did you ask in your poll about that particular policy?
So we asked two questions. One, in the context of real ID, so we can get to that one next, and then we specifically followed up with the issue. You know, do you want undocumented immigrants to have access to a driver's license or not? Almost that black and white, with a couple of caveats that I haven't seen other pollsters ask, and that's if you allow them to have access to a driver's license, you know, specifically we say it won't be compliant with real ID and it will be open for greater penalties for fraud. And when you ask it with those nuances that I think is in line with what the policymakers are actually discussing, overwhelmingly 69% of registered voters in New Mexico support allowing them to keep a driver's license with those two caveats.
Now, what about the real ID question?
So real ID, the way we frame this question, consistent with our approach, what's actually being debated in the legislature that has a chance of passing and where's the public's attitudes towards that, they support what now is being defined as the Senate compromise approach, which allows individuals essentially to have a choice. You can get a real ID compliant license if you have the underlying documents, or if you choose not to, or you're not eligible because you're undocumented, that particular policy approach polls majority of registered voters in New Mexico, I believe 56%, actually higher among Republicans and Democrats.
You know, polls, there's sometimes competing polls out there, and so why does it matter what kinds of questions you ask and how you ask them?
Well, I mean, if you ask a pollster or a researcher like myself who does polling, you know, what are the things to consider when evaluating whether a poll is credible? Two things are the sample. Who did you ask? Was it randomly distributed? Was it scientifically generated? I'll just say ours is always done that way. And then, just as important, how do you ask the question? Do you provide enough context in the question wording to make sure that people actually understand the issue, which we did in this case, explain it out for them so that they understand, oh, that's what you're asking me, so I can give you a real attitude, and make sure that the questions actually reflect the political reality of the day. We've chosen in our polling on this issue not to flame it as black and white. Driver's license, no driver's license. There's a lot of gray area in the middle, and consistently when we poll in that middle category, that's where the public's mind's at. I think it's just intuitive to most people.
And why does it matter to have polls? How do you hope elected officials, lawmakers use that information?
I mean, in a system like ours where you put a whole lot of trust on elected officials, the state legislature in this context, to make policy decisions for you, all a poll does is give you a sense of where is the public's attitudes towards that. And in essence, if you believe that the public's voice matters, polls are one of the most important ways to give elected officials an idea of where are the population's attitudes towards this. And we hope that they take that information into consideration when they actually craft policy.
You also asked about approval ratings for Governor Martinez, what people think about the job she's doing right now. What'd you hear? 56%
of registered voters in New Mexico approve of the job she's doing. And not only is that important just for a data point, post everything that happened over the Christmas break, it's one of the first data points to give us some traction across the state, statewide poll, you know, how popular and how strong is her support? Pretty high, higher than I actually thought that it would be. And that also, in my opinion, validates a lot of the other figures that we see that are getting a lot of pushback. It's like, hey, these are the same people who are saying we support access to driver's licenses for undocumented immigrants that are also saying we also still approve of the job Governor Martinez is doing. So I think that gives credibility to the overall numbers and sends a signal that the governor, despite what a lot of people are saying about her and what happened over the holiday break, she's still very popular among New Mexicans.
Gabe, what else did you ask folks about in this particular poll?
So although most of the content was focused on immigration policy, particularly at the state level, we also asked a little bit about federal discussion stuff. What about the deportation of Central South American kids and mothers, essentially? Overwhelmingly, New Mexicans say they should be allowed to stay, not deported. Somewhat surprising, I suppose, because again, the narrative is we don't love undocumented immigrants here. Polling doesn't suggest that. And we also asked a lot of questions that had nothing to do with immigration, specifically around open access to voter registration. So one bill I believe that's being debated as we speak is around automatic voter registration. That polls very well over 60% of New Mexican registered voters think that you should be automatically registered to vote when you go get your driver's license. Less support, however, for compulsory voting, making people essentially vote. Doesn't poll very well. I think 20% of New Mexican registered voters support that. And in the middle is this notion of being able to vote the same day as the election. You know, that polls at about, I think, 45% or so. So overwhelming support for automatic voter registration, less support for some of these other approaches.
Now, part of your poll was commissioned by Somos Un Pueblo Unido, a local advocacy group. This is quite common. Groups and organizations will commission polls. Can you guarantee results for them?
No, and unfortunately, sometimes clients aren't that happy when they see the numbers that you get. And you always tell folks, hey, I have a pretty good idea based on the sample that we're comprising and other polls that have been done, you know, ballpark idea of what we're going to be. But you always tell people you never know what you're going to get until you get it. And in this context, you know, I think Somos was generally happy with the results that they found because it's in line, but not overwhelming. You know, you think 56% for the compromise bill. Obviously, they're hoping that'd be 75% or greater. So you kind of, you know, you take everything with a grain of salt. And I will say on this, there's been a little bit of pushback from Republicans about the methodology on the poll. I always tell people when we look at some of the other federal issues, the Obama administration isn't that happy with the results of the poll either. So D's at the federal level, Republicans at the state level aren't that happy. For the most part, I say that I'm doing my job.
Gabe, thanks for sitting down with us this week.
It's always a pleasure.